Just outside the idyllic town of Rovna lies an abandoned house. Sorry, hang on a minute. Hey, bud. Hey, excuse me. Hey, could you possibly get off my desk when I'm trying to record? But please, I'm trying to record and you've hit the space bar. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Hey, look at me. I'm trying to do a serious video, Bobo, and you're just there, hitting my keyboard with your paws and being absolutely bloody adorable. We need to talk about, like, space and distance and why you keep lying on my desk every time I try and record. And then you do that and look all cute. Damn you. On the outskirts of the ruins of Rovna lies a house. Seemingly empty, this house holds many spirits. Spirits telling stories of love, life and joy, sitting round the fire with food and music, but also sadness, regret and death. This is the story of how one man was led to vengeance and murder. This is the tale of the Midnight Grave Robber. So in today's episode of Tales from Kingdom Come, I have come to this small house just outside of Rovna. I had an email from my good friend Joy telling me about this, so I've decided to come here and investigate. Now from the outside, this house doesn't look very conspicuous, there's nothing seemingly wrong here. But red flags do start to show, the fact that the door is completely unlocked. Also, there is no one in here whatsoever, although the shelves are fully stocked, almost like someone has been living here. There's even a candle still fully lit, but possibly the most worrying part is the fact that there is a pot still cooking food, so this person obviously left in a hurry. So looking inside this chest, we find a glass goblet. Now this is quite fancy for a quite small house, and I wasn't really expecting that. So I'm going to say right now that these people were quite well off. The fact that they had this pretty big house, also the fact that they have this amazing view and a lot of land. Also, they own their own livestock. So why did they leave? That's the ultimate question here. Behind the house, we unfortunately find this. Now, I'm going to say right now that this grave has blatantly been robbed. Bones are splayed out all over the place with absolutely no care. There is even a torch on the ground which the person was obviously using, and they have just completely desecrated this grave. And that's where this story ends. There is nothing else, no sign of anything. So the question lies, what happened to the family who lived in that home, and is this connected? Well, yes, this is very much connected. If you wait until midnight, something quite intriguing happens. Standing over the grave, looking forwards, we see fireflies. There were no fireflies here until midnight, and they seem to be heading up this path. Making my way up here, I'm quite dubious of what I'm going to find. Where are these fireflies leading me? Are these fireflies leading me anywhere at all? However fast we go, we cannot catch up with them. They are constantly in front of us. It is almost like they're leading us somewhere. And this is where they stop. Over the body of a man who was murdered. Who did this and why? In the last video I made, there was a dagger sticking out of poor Augustus Brown, but unfortunately here we find no form of weapon. Investigating this area, there is not really much more to tell, apart from one more thing. Hidden behind this brush is a chest. Now opening this, we find this. This stuff is very expensive, And my guess is that this is the grave robber's chest. Did he steal this stuff from that grave that we just found? But if he was able to put it in the chest, how did he die afterwards? It's as I always say, show, don't tell. There are only a few clues. Nothing outright telling me that this is the cause, and that's why Kingdom Come Deliverance is so brilliant. These fireflies were literally designed to bring us here. Maybe these fireflies are some form of spirit from the grave that we found. They do seem to emanate from this area, and that makes this extremely sad. So I'm going to try and piece together this story the best I can. Now obviously this is completely fictional, but I do believe that this is what happened. Elijah was a local blacksmith in the small town of Rovna. He lived in this house with his wife Esther and small child Catherine. On warm evenings they come out and sit around the fire, enjoying songs and food. Elijah's job meant they were able to stock their entire house with food and supplies. They were happy. But unfortunately, with all good things, they come to an end. Unfortunately, Esther and Catherine both came down with smallpox, and they were buried here nearby the house. The loss of his family had a big impact on his work. Elijah would spend most days sat in his house going over these events over and over again. It was enough to drive any man mad. One day while walking to his family's resting place, Elijah stumbled across something that angered him to breaking point. Stood there with torch in hand was a grave robber, digging up their remains. Elijah snapped. Vengeance and anger filled his mind, and he chased the grave robber up this hill. In all the commotion, the grave robber ended up dropping his torch. The only thing that lit their path were the fireflies dancing in the air. Filled with rage, Elijah chased him as fast as he possibly could, almost tripping and falling multiple times. Both the grave robber and Elijah clambered up these rocks. One thing that they didn't take into account is that this night it had been raining, so these rocks were terribly slippery. Tussling and fighting in the pitch black dark, the grave robber gave one big push, and this sent Elijah hurtling to the ground, his head hitting the rock on the way down. Scared and wounded, the grave robber didn't even think twice about taking the items he'd hidden in his chest. One day he may return to collect them, but he had just murdered a man. This isn't what he wanted. Lying on the ground, Elijah's world went black, and the only movement left were the fireflies in the air. A truly sad and dark tale. I hope you guys enjoyed my fictional story. As I said, Kingdom Come Deliverance is a masterclass in storytelling because it shows and doesn't tell, and I think that is incredible. And the fact that I was able to create this story out of thin air, using the things that the game has given me, is absolutely incredible and something that you can't really do in other games. Anyway, a big thank you to Joy for telling me about this. This is a truly harrowing and sad story even without my story on top of it. Yeah, it's pretty dark. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, but until next time, that's me, out. Bye guys.